quick reminder, my filmmaker retreat in Joshua Tree is October 1st through the 4th, 2026, year 5, everybody. It's a small group of real working filmmakers. I want you to come be a part of a special community, take part in honest conversations, and just take time to think out in the desert. And the food is fantastic. That's where all the magic happens, really, is we all eat our meals together. If you've been craving connection, transformational clarity about your career or life, and you really want to define your voice as a filmmaker, this might be right for you. So DM me or sign up quickly. It will sell out. Oh yeah, there's plenty of Magic Mind at the retreat. That's the mental performance shot that I drink daily. Okay, let's get on with the show.
It's time for Respect the Process, a short chat about commercial filmmaking. Here's your host, director Jordan Brady.
Thank you, Helen. You know, I was a little upset. Jonathan Gatto, we released the podcast about a month ago. Not quite, but it's gone out to the iHeartRadios and the Spotifys. I think there was a glitch on YouTube, and we redid it, and we fixed the voice, everything. But it never made it to Apple Podcasts. So if you've heard the episode, it's worth repeating. But I thought, well, let's just trick the system. Let's just post it again. So here is my chat with my friend Jonathan Gatto.
Brighter, I've been doing this a long time, obviously, and Brighter, brightercompany.com, thank you for remembering our terrible URL, is, I thought...
It is really bad. I mean, it's just terrible. Brightercompany.com, it sounds like you make children's books or something.
Well, it's a great story, too. The fellow who did that web design did it for me. The first website, URL, probably no less than 15 to 20 years ago.
Wow. Dial up.
When he did that for me, I was like, yeah, who cares? URL? What difference does that make? How funny is that now? But anyway, my story. I started brightercompany.com, Brighter, when coming out of working in TV commercial editing, which I did for a very long time. I was one of the original editors at Red Car New York, got brought out here to LA, did all kinds of fun, exciting things in editorial. And formed my own company called Terminal Media. We did great work, won all kinds of awards, got the trophy, the whole story. And when I rapidly learned or was faced with this industry shrinking, and I remember seeing it very clearly at Termin, you know. I remember my producer, Michael Gresh, a wonderful man who would bring projects and we would decide we're going to do them, you're not going to do them. And I remember the budget just going boop, 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 boop.
If you're not watching the video, Jonathan just made a shrinking sound. Boop, 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 boop.
So I knew then, and we're talking about 2003 or 4, that things were going a little south. And what I learned and what I knew from my friends at agencies, the producers I work with, the creatives, was this really interesting friction that what the brands really needed and what the agencies were tasked with doing was produce content, not necessarily ads, but content.
And they didn't call it content in 2003. Content didn't really come around until like the second decade of this millennium. Yeah.
They probably called it brand films or something like that, or an industrial maybe. But they needed this stuff for this new interwebs thing. And they needed to produce it for a lot less money than the AICP sales reps and production companies wanted to do it for. And I leaned in. I wanted to direct. I was a little tired of sitting in the chair. I just wanted to get outside and get some sunshine on my face. And I did it. I just did it. I closed up Terminal Media, actually sold it to Crossroads Films, another respected podcast can say this stuff. People know who that.
Yeah, people know.
Yeah. Sold that company to Crossroads and moved on, formed Brighter, and started producing this kind of lower budget, direct to consumer. That's what we call it now. Direct to client, I should say, not consumer, direct to client.
Direct to, not direct to consumer. That's like...
It is actually direct to consumer, what we do.
Well, there are consumers, right?
There are. Yeah, no, the work we do for the clients is almost exclusively direct to consumer.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, almost. I mean, it's all direct stuff. I mean, in the old days, we would have a 1-800 number on the bottom of the screen scrolling. Now it's a URL.
Some people do still have a. I've done spots. In fact, I have a spot next month that I'm shooting that will have an 800 number, and it's still a genius way to track the performance of the ad, because there might be, I'm not even exaggerating, and you know this, Jonathan, 87 versions of the same commercial with just a little, like sometimes the version may be the same, but the placement and time of day and the network may be different. So they assign a different 800 number so they can track, and maybe that's old school now with, metrics and AI and data and everything, but I digress. So you sold, I have a question. You sold Terminal Media to Crossroads. For the listener, what is the value of buying a production company? And I'm assuming you did both editing and production.
No, that was purely a editing post-production company, yeah.
So why would they do that? For the contacts? They didn't get you.
They did. That's what they buy. I mean, in what does any production company or editorial company really own, right? What do you own? You own a lease.
The talent and the relationships.
That's it. Yeah. They don't own the building. That's a lease. They don't really own, even in those days, the Avids. Those were actually leases too.
Right. So, or it's a payment plan, and they're outdated by the time it's like a camera. The new one came out last week. You're still paying for the old one.
They own the contracts. That's what, for a period of time. And they wanted, as a company, to put a stronger editorial foothold in Los Angeles. That was their goal. They wanted a turnkey editing company in LA. They had one in New York already.
So this is great. So you're editing under the Crossroads banner that bought your company, and you've also started directing. And we all know editors make great directors because they know what's going to be in the cut. How are you dividing your time?
Back then?
Yeah.
This is a great story. As when I first started doing this, in a strange way, the production was a loss leader for the editing.
Oh, yeah.
I would do the production relatively cheap, inexpensive as compared to some other people, because I knew the back end, or even better put, the entire project, if you look at it in its totality, was the way to look at stuff.
And how does that reflect your business model today? How does it inform it? If we jump ahead from, let's say it's 2005, and now you jump ahead 20 years, is it still the same? Like production's a loss leader?
No. Now I work primarily, actually, probably half of my time as a coach and consultant helping other people make production, and half of my time producing content. And that's very intentional, and I love that. But in terms of the production part of my life, no. Now the production is the main meal, and the editorial has become the sidebar. But truthfully, in the lane I work in, which is actually called it's called CTV, connected television, and programmatic television, which is an amazing further jump from the 1-800 number you were talking about to them tracking what you're watching on TV, when you click, what you're watching when you click.
In real time.
In real time, yeah. And that's what we primarily do at Brighter now.
Brighter is CTV and digital ads that connect and convert. Brands aren't built for video production. Contact us. I'm reading right off of your terrible URL, abrightercompany.com. It's not that bad.
With our really terrible positioning statement.
It's actually a nice website. So, are you helping the brands run the ads? Are you connecting them, or do you make it like I make it and I hand it to people and I'm done? Even if I package the post, I see it through post, deliver it, they download it and give it to a media buyer, or the agency does that, or the client direct does it themselves. I'm starting to get into a few smaller clients are like, someone said, would you handle our social media? And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm the person for that. I want to say yes, but I don't think I'm the person. So does a Brighter company handle that for your clients?
Yeah. It's a great question. When we started Brighter, we did. My wife is actually a social media manager. I helped her launch that career. She was a wonderful writer.
Did you meet on social media?
No.
Okay.
But I helped her get there, and she is very, very good at it. So when we started Brighter, we had that superpower. We were taking on small clients, we were producing the content for them, and then we were distributing it socially through paid and organic marketing. But now I very quickly realized that doing placement, paid placement, was not a business I wanted to be in. It was a very different mindset and a very different skill set. And even the people I was able to hire at the price points that the small brands were willing to pay, they wouldn't get the kind of results that the brand wanted. So I got out. But funny enough, my wife still manages a few accounts, organic accounts, and she does very well.
Well, one of the reasons I ask is I see you on social media. I want to ask about coaching and things like that. But as far as the production and being able to adapt like you and I have to smaller budgets, and anyone listening at the agency that has a big budget or a brand that wants a client hire us directly, you can reach out to myself or Jonathan. We'll help you out. But I see these ads in my Instagram feed about, you don't just make the ad, run it for your clients and for a retainer, and you'll show them how your video launched their business into the stratosphere. And I just think, well, I'm a filmmaker, and by necessity, I've had to become a de facto producer entrepreneur because I've always run my own company. I was a director for hire signed with a company, but even then you're kind of producing your career, even if you're signed as an editor to a shop or a director to a shop, right? So when I see these ads, I think, well, that's not, why would I be good at both of those things? I'm not a dream crusher. If anyone listening wants to do it and go for it. But to me, it's like, I'm really good at making the ad, the physical production, pretty smart in the editing room, and I'm great at taking an idea from the page to the stage.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
When it comes to selling tickets to the stage, not my bag.
I'm really glad you brought this up, because I got to be honest with you. Those ads that you're talking about, I was getting those too. And they really made me mad. They did.
They made you mad?
They made me mad.
Going?
They did. They made me mad. I would look at these ads and go, oh my gosh, that's insane. That's insane talk. And then the thing that really put me over the edge is when this wonderful guy, who I'm not going to name, who's also been on your podcast, called me up and said, Jonathan, have you seen this? Like, maybe we should do this. And I was like, okay, I'm going to meet you Thursday. We're going to get a beer and we're going to have a heart-to-heart, my friend. Because I just, I'm not naming him. No, sorry. But anyway, it's
what are his initials?
I'm not, and it led me to start coaching. It really was the thing that led me to start helping people, because what I found through the years is, through all the people I worked with for decades at agencies, there was really one guy named Stuart DiRosario. It was a wonderful...
Say the name again?
Stuart DiRosario. A wonderful agency. He's a writer by trade, but he's much more than the writer. But I learned so much from him about brand. And I learned so much from him about positioning, about how to write, how to come up with strategy. And I never really considered how much I learned from him until I started thinking about coaching, and I started reading books, and I started listening to other coaches, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's crazy. that's the same work I was doing for so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. That was the thinking underneath that script that I was working on. And that's what I do now. I take all that and try to help other people who are feeling very unempowered in this economy and in where we are in our industry right now, feeling very sad and very like, what do I do? And there are things you could do. There really are.
And do you think that the epiphany when the mystery guest of my show called you about should we expand our business into doing the media buying and whatnot, media management?
Yeah, making heads for plumbers.
You know what? There is a guy that's been on my podcast who I consider a dear friend and a great filmmaker. I'm guessing who it might be. Is it someone that's been on recently? He's very successful. He's a super smart guy. And I'm talking about Josh Baker from Wolf Bear Agency.
No,
not him. He's a great guy. And I think he's actually pulling it off.
That's great.
But he has a business acumen and a producer, director, head, creative side. So shout out.
So he's good for that.
So you and I are probably about the same age. I might be a little older. Yeah, I think so. And I have better hair, at least on top. Yeah. And so for me, it was in my mid-50s, early to mid-50s, when I thought, I really want to give back. I really want to teach as part of my life's journey. And do you think that had it not been this mystery guest calling you, it would have happened anyway? That was just sort of the catalyst? You can say no. That's a stupid theory, Jordan.
Good question. I appreciate it as a real question. I mean, really, to think about that, like, probably not.
Oh, interesting.
Like you, I'm an entrepreneur. I mean, I hated working for people. I mean, I formed my first company pretty early on, and I like working for myself. So some people call it coaching, other people might call it consulting. Someone else might call it a fractional this, that, or the other. So is
fractional new? That's a new one, right? In the last 5 years?
I like it too. Fractional CMO is the one I get. Yeah. But now I see fractional chief marketing officer.
Yeah, fractional EP. There's a coach that uses that one.
I saw that one. That's great.
So how do you market yourself as a coach / mentor, fractional mentor? Fractional mentor is good. You can run with that one. Because I don't see those services on abrightercompany.com here.
No, I keep it completely separately. Yeah. I'm not trying to get rich on the coaching. That's not the idea. So how do I market it? I mean, I really market it just by talking.
Word of mouth?
Well, no, over social media, I do try to get together and have free group webinars all the time. And I like to invite.
I did one of yours.
It was really nice.
With Sahir.
Sahir was there. And I think there were some other people who you knew maybe. I don't remember. I think Charles.
You had a good turnout.
Yeah, we do great on those. I mean, truthfully, I put those notices up on all the, community sites, and there's always a great turnout. People need a little confidence and they need a little direction.
And those are free.
Of course, yes. I mean, that's the idea.
I don't know when this will come out, probably in the next few weeks to a month. I mean, sometimes it's 3 months, depends on work and whatnot. But if you have a link, I will put it with the podcast for listeners to tune in. Because it's free, it's on Zoom, you have great guests, you have great conversation, and you're dropping knowledge nuggets.
Yeah, and just to give a URL, I mean, you could always go to the coaching website, which is directorscut.studio.
Oh, right, of course. Right. I'm on the email list.
And we'll always put the notices for the webinars up there. I mean, and there's also sign-ups on there if you want to do anything specific. I run a group program, and right now we have 5 people per group. That's it. And we just all work together and build each other's, positioning, clients, strategy, so that they can get out of that gig-to-gig rut You said it, posted the other day. I loved it. You said something about like, oh, the job ended. I'm never going to work again. And you were doing it in jest, obviously.
God willing, I was jesting, yes.
Yeah, no, you
But
knew
that's true. That's the imposter syndrome.
That's how you feel. That's such a telling place to be.
It's every creative discipline. I don't know about like if you're an accountant and you get fired, if you think the same thing. I'm sure it's a human condition. But for creative people, it's a real thing that it's like addiction, in my opinion. If you acknowledge that you have this, that's the first step to recovery.
That's 100% correct. Yes.
Right? What's the biggest advice you would give a director starting out right now? And I'll tell you why I'm asking this, or for context. Earlier this year, at the beginning of the year, I did a commercial directing boot camp, right? I started in 2015, and they're amazing.
Great program. Absolutely.
And it costs a lot of money. It's one day, but it's the real shit, okay? Yeah, no, it's compared to other things, it's not expensive, but it's well worth it. And I'm not even joking. So I thought, I had this existential crisis, Jonathan, of how do I teach people to make a living as a commercial director in an economy that's harder than it was when I started this boot camp in 2015. I don't want to sell people something that, like, I have to believe in it. And I make a living as a commercial director in my 60s by adapting, doing smaller budgets more frequently, by building in profit margins, by packaging, by dealing with phone calls and texts that I didn't used to. I used to be a young, sexy director, collect my bag of money and go get high. Now I got to work. So that's why I ask, with all that in mind, in 2026, what's the number one thing for people to get their head on straight about directing commercials? And commercial could be anything, for Instagram, for Super Bowl spot, anything in between.
Yeah, and there is really just one key thing to consider, which is we have this tendency as creative people to invest everything in our reel, our portfolio, our work, right? We are our work. And I remember for decades it was said, just make sure what you're doing is the best it can be and everything else will take care of itself. That's not true. It was probably never true, whether it was when there was more work or now. And when I think about the truly great businessman artists and woman artists, business person artists, going all the way back to a long time ago, they knew that. They absolutely knew that. Some of the great directors I work with as an editor, they were the best self-promoting business people I ever knew. So the mindset shift from do the best work and it'll take care of itself, everything take care of itself, should be shifted to, I'm going to build myself. What I do, how I do it, why I do it, and the body of work is not something I do for other people. It's not the particular ad you're on today. It's your body of work. And that includes how you work. Do you do social media marketing? Do you think about what your website looks like? When you write your emails, when you do outreach, how are you doing that? Are you just asking for a gig? If you're asking for a gig, well, then you know what you are. You're in a pile of vendors. But if you're connecting with your peers, if you're hanging out, if you're like, hey, so-and-so, what's up? And you really have real relationships and you're really there, not just saying, oh, happy to help out, actually just helping out.
Yes. Actually being of service and wanting to help with limited expectation. If I were more of a Buddhist, I would say with no expectation, but I'm not. I do go, that motherfucker, I did this for them, and I'm human, right? I wish that I could go, hey man, I'm just, whatever happens, happens, with no attachment to a result. You're doing the work.
It's always true that through generosity and through giving and through that way of looking at it, all things are possible. And that's both internally and externally. I think your own happiness and satisfaction and feeling of place in the world will be much better. And through that feeling, through that generosity, through that, it's confidence, really. It's confidence. It's, that with or without you energy, like, you're fine. I'm fine. That's people are looking for. That's what clients buy.
I agree. I tell newer directors or some seasoned directors looking to reinvent through coaching or boot camp and everything. It's like commercial directing is a confidence game
All day.
and I don't want that to be confused with a cocky, I'm an asshole because my way is the highway attitude. It's a confidence in yourself, and that breeds trust.
It's a quiet confidence.
Quiet confidence.
That's the big difference. I had boisterous, know-it-all, young energy. I'm sure you did.
Oh, yes.
But, you need that to get shot out of the cannon sometimes. I mean, if I hadn't had that sure-sighted thing, that absolute know-it-all, move forward at all costs.
Delgado's got moxie.
Yeah. When I was 23, I wouldn't be here today. So, if you feel that way when you're 23, if you're listening to this and you have that, awesome. Enjoy it. Fantastic.
There's a young filmmaker on Instagram and TikTok,
mm-hmm.
and I offered to help. And it's a talented young woman who's hustling, not so much in commercials. She's got a following. She produces meetups. She was at Sundance, and she's so earnest.
That's wonderful.
And at the same time, so confident and cocky. But not cocky is the wrong word, because it sounds like a diss.
A bad thing, yeah.
That I realized that as an older, especially older white presenting straight man, a young person like that is not going to listen to anything I have to say. And there was a post or two about don't listen to older people, they don't know. So that really cemented it. But I want to help so bad. I want to say, if you just dial it down to 8, you're going to cruise. You could be on cruise control because everything's there. The talent, the moxie. Maybe it needs a little humility.
Hi, it's me, Jake, the editor. You probably know Commercial Directing Film School offers in-person boot camps and online courses. But did you know my dad does one-on-one consultations? Yeah, he does. So, now you know, okay? Anyway, now back to this enthralling interview.
I mean, at any given time right now, I try to limit how many people I'm doing one-on-one coaching with to below 5, but it's been pretty consistently around that number. And at any given, yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's not, I actually like group better than individuals just because I can help more people, make it a lower cost. But anyway, that's not my point. My point is that, there's always a younger, or not always even younger. I mean, actually, I have someone in my mind who's not younger, who really want to help themselves, but really don't like the medicine. And that's quite normal. But they're there to have it. They've come to the meeting, and you might say to them, such and such, like you're saying, you might say to them, well, here's some shifts you could make. And you really want them to make the shift. Like you really do. You really care. I have one student right now who I'm like, I keep appealing to him, please fix your website. Please listen to nothing I say, but fix your stupid website for me. Will you give me the log on to WordPress?
I don't mean by their age, by our generation, this time period in time. Someone goes, oh, I just found their site. Oh, I just saw a spot they did for Skittles. Oh, if you reference something, someone on the Zoom has pulled it up and they put a meme in the chat. Like it's just, everybody's firing on all cylinders. That says to me that a website is important. Is that the premier showcase for your reel, your own URL, or is it Vimeo? Is it email newsletter? Like, what do you recommend?
I think it's entirely up to you. I mean, ultimately,
That's not a good answer, Jonathan. That's
your website,
I'm messing with you.
your website or your Vimeo or wherever depository of your portfolio and reel, wherever that is, it sits unnoticed. There's not like someone searching the web for you. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It's up to you to create some noise, to create some authority, to build. I call it a trust bridge. I mean, you want to make it easy for people to reach out and buy, if you will. So you got to build trust. You got to build authority. And whether you do that with social media, you could do it with a Substack article, you could do it all kinds of ways, whatever fits you. But you do need a depository. You need a place to send them. And the website is the most normal, average, that's where everyone goes. We put a website together. And your website could be Vimeo. I mean, why not? It could also be the Behance, for that matter, or I don't know. But yeah, you do need a spot. And when they land there, you want it to continue the conversation in the correct way. And this is like exactly the kind of stuff I talk about on Director's Cut Studio. We talk about this kind of like fluidity of the conversation from the beginning to the middle to the end. And the website's not the end. The website's the middle.
I'm going to go there now since I said it. Director's Cut
Studio.
Oh, that's a good URL.
Better than the first one, right?
Better than the first one. Here we go. Let's pull that up. Director's Cut Studio. Didn't work. It didn't work. Oh, here it is. Look at that picture of you with the beard and the hat.
Right? It's a good one.
Start with freelancer to founder. That's a course?
That's a course. That's a free course. And it's very good. It's really just simply about making that shift from a freelancer to a founder.
Go ahead.
It's really that. Get your mind out of being a freelancer, gig to gig, like you and I talked about, into building your own career, like for real, like build a company, a founder.
I'm with you. This is not about tactics or hustle. It's about regaining clarity when things feel uncertain. This is great, man. In about 45 to 60 minutes, you'll be able to understand why busy does not equal stable, spot the patterns driving the feast or famine cycle, right? Identify what structure is actually missing, recognize the shift from taking jobs to building a career. Yeah, I'm aligned with all that. I mean, the only thing that this is great. Do you want to tell us the price for the course?
That course is free.
That course is free. Look at that.
Yeah.
And then you're sucked in. It's like you give a hit a crack, and now I got to come back and get more.
That's the story, right? No, it's really for free. I mean, it's really free. I mean, I always think you have to give the information away because the information is free. I mean, you could come up with all those same thoughts. I can give you a list of books and you could write all the same stuff. It's really the doing of it. That's where it matters. Like you're directing school too. You could give them all kinds of articles about storyboarding, about how to work with a creative director through the process, but to actually do it. Like I love that course you have where you let people come to set with you, right?
That's it. Oh, the shadow program.
That's really smart because to see the nuances of the friction of what happens on set between all the different people and they're all their different interests and they're all looking at the same frame, thinking about something entirely different. But what's awesome about that is through that friction, through that weird everyone looking at the same thing differently, a good result should come if it's handled properly by the director.
It's invaluable. But as far as like, you said, like my coaching in the film school, I couldn't make a living in Los Angeles anyway. I mean, maybe a small town in Alabama, but I don't know if I can hold the seminar there because the price of living is cheaper. But the shadow program, when you come to set, is an invitation. I put an email blast out, who's going to be in this city, who's available, and then it literally has come down to picking a name out of a hat. The one prerequisite, Jonathan, is they have to have completed Commercial Directing Shadow, the online course. And that's like $199 now, or it's old, but it's timeless because I think I shot it 21 or 22. But here's the two things that are funny about it. The course, you have to buy the course and take the course. Unless I gave it to you for some reason or you're part of a college, for whatever, for some reason I give it away, right? But when you come on set to shadow, I pay you. I think it's like $300 or $350 for the day. If it's a multi-day shoot, you're paid every day. One, because I want you to be paid. Two, workman's comp, right? A worker's comp. I want to cover you in case you trip over a lamp and break something or your foot. And there's labor laws. So it's kind of a wash. Like, you make far more than the cost of the course. Now, you may not get selected because literally thousands of people have taken the course online, and I can only have I had 3 people one time on a big Toyota job because I'm friends with the agency. They're super cool with it. They're very supportive. But the thing that's crazy, Jonathan, is the course, and I'm not plugging the course during your interview as blatantly as it sounds, but my son shot the behind the scenes, and he knows the crew. He can schmooze the clients and agency, and he knows he goes up to the talent. So he's with me. It's almost like a more of a shadow online, because the camera it's like he's in a backpack or a baby Bjorn filming as I go around. Like, you're really there. And sometimes I got to go, hey man, don't follow me to the village. Like, this is going to be intense. It's going to be weird. But that's only happened a couple times. But you know, I would love to do something with you and just see how, whether it was a live webinar or something in person. What I don't want to do is a fake shoot to teach people. Like, people have said, why don't you stage like a shoot and take people through?
No friction. There's no
friction. It's fake.
It's funny. So I was on set yesterday. I had a pretty big production, and my producer, Regina, brought, I think it was like her niece's friend, to set. And I said to her on set, right at 7:30 in the morning, I said, you can roll 2 ways here today. I'll pay you as a PA. And if you do that, you have to go downstairs and carry these director's chairs up here. Or you could stay here for free. And I think that would be a smart move. And I'll tell you about what's going on. And that thing about the friction, I said that exact thing to her yesterday. Because, and I really believe that is so valuable. And within my coaching, that's exactly where I was going. The teaching of that, the talking about that, like on a webinar or whatever, a podcast like we're on now, that's one thing. But to see it, like you show it, or like I do within the actual coursework we do, when we get into creating a website, okay, we're going to work on what your website says, and you're not going to like some stuff. But through that, and it's even better in the group dynamic, when in the group, someone else might say, oh, did you think of this? Mm-hmm. It's great. It's wonderful to see that stuff happen, to watch everyone work through that together.
The retreat I do and the boot camps are community where I find the participants contribute as much value, if not more, than I do from everyone's shared experiences. The crazy thing about commercial directing, and my hat is off to editors, and maybe you can kind of correct me here, but a good editor is such a wonderful group therapist with people wanting to try this and try that. Did we shoot a take where he was on the rocking chair? No, we didn't have a rocking chair. Why are you remembering that? And directing, I listen to podcasts, and there are directors I hear on different shows, and they talk about, well, the agency, they killed this and they wouldn't do that. And part of me is like, well, how did you fight back? And fight's the wrong word, but like, I just had to push for a location that to me was painfully obvious, the recommended choice. And people ask me, why do you like this one or that one? And I'm kind of funny, right? So I go, well, I put the word recommended over those pictures because that's my recommendation. And the backup pictures imply that if for some reason the first one didn't work for the team, we have a backup. But clearly I have laid my cards on the table. And everybody kind of pauses and goes, oh, he likes the first one. Like, no shit. But I say that because humor is one of my tools. It may not be for you. I sent this ridiculous reference image to an agency producer today saying, hey, will you ask the team if they like A, B, or C? And C was like just it was an AI hallucination that was just like, how can I not share this? And it's email, and the response was, what are we supposed to be looking at in the third picture? And I was like, oh, my bad. It was a joke. I didn't set it up as a joke. So that can backfire. So it's really finding your voice, obviously in terms of filmmaking, but in the editor's chair or the director's chair, finding your voice that's commanding trust and respect for the position. Like, just because you're the director, if people are going to walk all over you, mediocrity sets in. Everything gets watered down. This episode is brought to you by a new sponsor, Posh Duo, the original 2-in-1 hair and beard styling stick. I use it. It's made for filmmakers, handcrafted with beeswax, tea tree oil, a fresh hint of citrus, and a single Viking tear. Listeners of this show respect the process, get free shipping, and it comes in discreet packaging. There's a link in the show notes. Get the posh look. Group therapist, editor come group therapist, director analogy. Thoughts?
I mean, it's something I've heard for decades, and there's certainly something to it. Many different editors approach that in many different ways. And I've known, of course, hundreds and hundreds of editors in my life, and there's no one way to do it. But there's one commonality in the edit room, which distinguishes the editor from everybody else in the room, which ultimately focuses this idea. You're driving the boat. So you're driving the boat, and the boat needs to get to a certain spot by 5 o'clock, usually by 10 o'clock, but you're going for 5. And that's your objective. Now, other people in the room might have all different kinds of objectives about their ego, saving face, covering up a mistake that was made. You don't know. But as the editor, it doesn't really matter. What matters is to keep harmony, keep the project moving in the correct, most productive direction, right? So you do become a therapist, not because you are a therapist, not because you have any understanding of that, but because your focus is singular. And as much as the director's focus may or may not be singular, you don't know. His focus might be saving face. His focus might be landing the next job. His focus might be
the director's cut.
Right. And gosh knows, I've been in that edit room a lot of times. And back in the day, the directors didn't really give much of a hoot about the agency cut. But that was later regardless. But that's what the editor therapy is about. I think it's focus. It's a singular mission, and it's about driving a boat. And the minute you realize that, you're driving a boat, but the destination is not yours. So
that's a good analogy.
Yeah. And you have to channel in everyone else's direction or you're not getting anywhere. So, that's my way of thinking about that.
I say in my programs, the commercial director is the doula, the midwife. Like you're going to deliver. I don't know who I stole it from, but I claim it as my own. You're the midwife who the client and the agency are pregnant. They have this baby, and this baby's going to be born. And the editor is the nanny. Like, you're going to swaddle it and clean the placenta off, and then you're going to hand it to this editor who may or may not, you may not see the child again.
And you know what I love about that? Having had a doula in my life, the single most wonderful thing I think the doula did for me when I had a little tiny newborn baby was say, it's going to be all right.
Yeah. Everything's going to be okay. I've done this 1,000 times.
I do this every Wednesday. We're good. Don't worry. Just let the baby be.
Jonathan, we coming to a close here. This has been a great conversation. It kind of flew by.
Yeah, right.
But I didn't ask you about any particular projects. And I watched a bunch of stuff like
spotpet.com.
Spotpet.com.
That's a good one.
Cheapo Air. They're all good. They're on your
comes.
And these, and then you say, we're proud of social too, and you got a MailChimp and a Fresh Pet.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you click on Jonathan's name on iTunes or Spotify, whatever, jordanbrady.com, my website's like a Bedouin bazaar, by the way. It's a mess. But TrueGent.tv, my company site's really good, and they're all thematic. I'm going to put a link where if you click on Jonathan's name, it's going to take you to the director's cut.studio. So you can get in touch and do the free thing and then learn to join a group.
Thank you.
But then it'll say abrightercompany.com, and you click on that, it'll show you some of the works, the Joybird, the GoPruff, and all that stuff. My question is, with your business model in production, I see Crystal Brammer, your EP and strategy. Is that your lovely wife?
Yes, indeed. That's her.
Oh my God! I didn't think so because she's half your age. I'm kidding. But my question is, do you have traditional reps? Because I'm thinking that Fresh Pet and GoPuff found you directly.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a great. We could do a whole nother podcast about brand direct. That's a whole podcast, to be honest with you.
This episode is brought to you by a new sponsor, Posh Duo, the original 2-in-1 hair and beard styling stick. I use it. It's made for filmmakers, handcrafted with beeswax, tea tree oil, a fresh hint of citrus, and a single Viking tear. Listeners of this show respect the process, get free shipping, and it comes in discreet packaging. There's a link in the show notes. Get the posh look.
I don't play in that sandbox. I actually kind of almost refuse to. If someone asks me to triple bid, I tell them thank you, but no thank you. My life's too short. I did that, and I don't want to do it anymore. I'll do it if it's really great. You know, if the sales rep is a friend and he tells me on the side that we have a pretty good chance. But no.
The budget's good. The scripts are good.
I don't even care about that. I care whether we're going to get the job, because I don't want to put in 4 days of work and $5,000 of my money for a designer or this, that, or the other to get it on par with the other directors who are going to do it, to not get it. And it's more the time than the money, to be honest with you. But no, we absolutely do not have a sales rep. I do not want sales reps. I do all of my own marketing. I do all of my own outreach. And it is really boots on the ground strategy of using LinkedIn, working contacts, cold email, warm email more than cold email, and that's how we find work.
Wow, that's great. And the cold emails, that's another podcast topic, but LinkedIn more than Instagram, TikTok, no one's hiring us. Instagram is where we share with our crew and the actors and everybody, Patsy, everyone on the back, which I love. I love sharing the work on Instagram. But LinkedIn's really come into its own as far as it's professional, it's fun, and people know that you want to work together. It's implied by being on LinkedIn. If you're reaching out or even commenting on a post, I go with that strategy that you described earlier. I don't think I've ever said, "Hey, would love to work with you. Here's my once or twice in the beginning of LinkedIn." But people know, and if they like your shit, they're going to check out your Vimeo, your website, or whatever, despite the URL.
My motto about social media marketing that I teach is make friends and try to help. That's it.
That's a good tattoo. That's great on a coffee mug.
I could put that over my heart, right?
Yes. Jonathan, the show is called Respect the Process, and you've been a wonderful addition to our litany of great guests. Everyone answers this question before we say goodbye. Jonathan, what does respect the process mean to you?
I'm going to show my age. I'll never forget Tony Kaye.
Tony Kaye, great director. At
the front of the AICP meeting, he was giving the keynote speech before the award was to be given to him. And he got up in front at the theater at the Museum of Modern Art, and he just held up a piece of paper, and it said trust. And he just stood there like a Tony K. would and held up the word trust, because trust is everything. And respect the process is about trust. So there is trust necessary to respect the process. I love that you call it respect the process. It's a lot of truth in that. And just like the doula, it'll be okay.
Which wouldn't be a bad name for a modern podcast. It's interesting. I think one of the reasons I love the name Respect the Process is because back in the day, my younger self disrespected the process just enough to be a maverick and get noticed, and had the confidence, the chutzpah to get jobs that I probably wasn't qualified for. But I was disrespecting it enough that some senior people would take me aside sometimes and go, there's an easier way. And so starting the podcast was born out of like kind of a moment of humility after losing a job. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, like going, okay, I've been doing this a decade or two now. I think it's my lane. I'm learning. I can relax. I don't have to be hyper. You know what I mean? I'm going to get the next job, despite the monkey brain saying, will I ever work again? So there's a confidence in that. It's the calm confidence you mentioned at the top of the show. That allows you to take a step back and respect the process.
Well, also, I think it's important, and another reason I like it, and I know you're trying to land a plane right now, but the process is being disrespected quite a bit in the world right now. We're almost being led to disrespect the process, and that's why it's particularly good at this moment.
Quick reminder, my filmmaker retreat in Joshua Tree is October 1st through the 4th, 2026, year 5, everybody. It's a small group of real working filmmakers. I want you to come be a part of a special community, take part in honest conversations, and just take time to think out in the desert. And the food is fantastic. That's where all the magic happens, really, is we all eat our meals together. If you've been craving connection, transformational clarity about your career or life, and you really want to define your voice as a filmmaker, this might be right for you. So DM me or sign up quickly. It will sell out. Oh yeah, there's plenty of magic mind at the retreat. That's the mental performance shot that I drink daily. Okay, let's get on with the show.
But I will say this, that part of what I like to, again, teach in Director's Cut Studio is about not dealing with the AICP bid structure, that whole business structure. Throw that out the window. You are sending contracts. The contracts do very specifically outline how many rounds of revisions editorial will be having and exactly how much each additional round of revisions will be costing you. So
you're saying that's not in the AICP?
No.
You put it in your contract.
I put it in. I don't say, in my contracts, in my proposals, when we work direct with brands, and they don't mind this because
they love it.
They never lived in the old world. So they like the parameters. They like knowing what they bought.
This is the sandbox we're playing in.
Yeah. Well, I get 3 rounds of revisions. Oh, you want to have 4 in the contract? Awesome. We can bring that up. But it is what it is. And you know what you're getting. And when they want the 4th revision, it's fantastic. I'll be sending over the invoice for that 4th revision in a few days. Happy to do it.
I love this, Jonathan, because I just had the conversation this morning about this, that we went back and looked at a contract and I go, part of it's on us because it was never in the realm of possibilities that we would go a week to 10 days down. Like this was a fast track, supposed to be the easiest shoot ever.
Yeah.
So shame on us for not putting the X round of revisions, X this, and
how many days should be in between each round of revisions. You could put all that in there. It's not hard to do.
And typically we do. We put, I usually do 2 rounds of agency notes.
Yeah.
And then a round of client feedback notes.
That's great.
Should it be more or less?
It's up to you. You could put in as many as you want. But a job I just did for a children's vitamins company, they wanted to have 5 rounds of revisions. I was happy to accommodate. And the price matched. You could have 14. We can keep my editor, Josh, going for as long as you like.
But it's commensurate with the budget of the job.
Of course. It has to be. I mean, Josh is being paid to go to work. Why shouldn't he be?
Jonathan, thank you for your insights. I hope to see you in real life somewhere.
You will at Tony's thing.
Is that coming up?
I don't know. Probably.
Oh, I'll be there. Okay, man. Thank you so much.
Commercial Directing Film School's mission is to help filmmakers direct commercials professionally. With online courses and in-person boot camps, we demystify the process to get you to the next level, all taught by your accessible mentor, filmmaker Jordan Brady.
True Gentleman Industries. We make commercials.